What's up, Packers fans? Aaron Negler here with your gut reactions post-game chat after the Packers essentially survive against the Jacksonville Jaguars to the tune of 30-27. Bit more of a nail biter than probably most Packer fans would have preferred, but the Packers escape with a victory. 2 weeks in a row, we get a walk-off field goal to win things. Absolutely love to see it. My gosh, they actually have a kicker who can deliver in gotta-have-it situations. Who would have thunk it? Clearly, the big story coming out of this will be Jordan Love's injury. No word from LaFleur in his post-game presser about the severity, where he's at, etc. Got to suspect decent chance Malik Willis gets the start against Detroit next week, but we'll see. Long way to go. But in this moment, how about Malik Willis? What an absolute dog coming out onto that field, needing to lead this team to at that point, come from behind victory. Just great work all around. Finishes the day with a 152.9 passer rating. And the biggest play of the day to Jaden Reed up that left sideline, a play that apparently, according to Matt LaFleur, they did not practice all week. Now, Malik didn't even get, snaps with the ones in general. Like, he's running scout team, he's running on-air stuff with the coaches after practice, etc. But not only did he not practice with the ones, but the ones themselves never practiced that play to Jaden Reed all week long, didn't put it in. Matt said they had considered it, but then decided against installing it, never practiced it. But then during the game, they saw something in the Jaguars defense they felt they could take advantage of. Jason Vrabel apparently on the headset saying, hey, we could utilize this here. And not only was that not the primary play called on that down, Malik Willis had it as an option and went to a can saying, okay, looks like we got the look we need. Can. They run the play. Jaden Reed, basically the deepest over route you'll ever see. Big, huge gain up the left sideline to essentially put them in field goal range and win the game. I mean, Malik Willis, you cannot say enough about the job he has done through his now 3 games of action with the Green Bay Packers, considering he did absolutely nothing with this team throughout the entirety of the offseason, not a lick of training camp, comes in and does what he has done. I mean, you absolutely love to see it. The other guy who clearly needs to be talked about after this game is Josh Jacobs. You talk about completely putting the team on your back. There was no doubt that once Willis was in there, the game plan very much changed. The approach absolutely changed. They rode him to victory to the tune, ladies and gentlemen, of 25 carries for 127 yards, an average of 5.1 per carry, and 2 touchdowns, the second of which is one of the sickest runs you will ever see. I mean, just phenomenal stuff. Now, injuries, again, not just Jordan Love, but the Evan Williams injury on defense certainly played a major role in the Jaguars coming to life on offense. You saw things essentially turned around for them after Evan was hurt. There was little doubt that Halfley found himself in a bit of a bind. He couldn't get home with 4, but every time he tried some of his replacement rushes, his replacement pressures, essentially Lawrence knew where to go with the ball. Like, you're going after Stokes, you're going after Bullard, and even a couple times he tried to go after Jair, but both of those were shut down. But yeah, there's no doubt that the Evan Williams injury seriously affected the Packers, especially on the back end, but also how Halfley was able to call the game. Now, that's not to take away from some great playmaking by Xavier McKinney with the interception, the awesome job causing the fumble by Edrin Cooper, who got his first start today, hopefully the first of many. Devontae Wyatt, shout out on that recovery to put them in position for the touchdown there, first and goal. But yeah, that Evan Williams injury, definitely something to watch because you saw today how very different they are on defense when he is not out there. And it feels weird. I know it feels weird to say that about a rookie, but I think today it shows you how important he is on that side of the ball. Hello to everybody in the comment section. So good to see everybody. John Moore starting us off with a super chat. Is Jordan Love wasting Malik Willis's prime? Hope Love is okay. I did tell you after the Vikings game that the Packers would be 6-2 before the Lions game. Phenomenal work, John. Very much so. Outstanding. JJS Breaks, thanks for the super chat. Good teams win games when they don't play well. It's been 8 quarters of poor football, including Matt LaFleur, and they are 2-0. Lots to clean up, but they will. It's interesting you say that because you say 8 quarters of poor football. Were they playing poorly on defense last week? There was certainly a stretch this week where they played very well on defense out of the gate. I understand it's not pretty all the time, and I understand it's, like, frustrating to watch the opposing defense march up and down the field, your offense go 3 and out at times, etcetera, but that doesn't mean it's all been poor football for 8 quarters. Let's not completely blow this out of proportion. Joe, thanks for the super chat, man. You gotta be able to get wins on tough days. Now there, you are spot on. The Jordan Love injury really, obviously, happened in the first drive of the game. It was hard to watch him hobbling around out there, and I know Matt had talked about we got to a point where we thought he couldn't really protect himself anymore. It was like that seemed to be like right away. There were certainly a couple snaps where he's, got the ball and could have, traditionally, if you quote unquote normal, had been able to escape some of the pressure, but he just didn't really have any kind of mobility after that first drive. And then one time he did get outside the pocket, he absolutely made something happen. Then that awesome play to Tucker Kraft, but it sure looked like he aggravated it further on that play. So, yeah, it's a tough one. It's a tough one, but like you said, Packers overcame it today. Soder, thanks for the super chat. I know I said there are no style points awarded for winning in the NFL, but I could go for a couple 2 or 3 style points wins right about now. I think you heard Matt mention their heart rates not being able to survive this many more type of endings. Yeah, you'd love it, but that ain't the NFL, man. Unless you're the Lions putting up 52 against the Titans at home, that's a very different world. But I just survive in advance, so I'm all Bob. 6-2. That's all I care about. Ed, thanks for the super chat again. Never any doubt. Could have collapsed and didn't. Groin injuries can linger. Hope Love's okay. That is the concern, right? The fact that it's more than just a re-aggravation of the initial knee injury that he suffered down in Brazil, but now add the groin injury to it. Oh, man, it's tricky. It's very tricky. I suspect, like I said at the top here, got to expect Malik Willis to get the start against Detroit. Then they go into the bye week, and hopefully that gives him some time to heal up. It's a tough proposition, but you do not want, to your point, let that linger, re-aggravate it, and have him out for the year or even longer. Don't want that. Taymor, thanks for the super chat. Why does the offense look more scripted with Willis than Love at times? It's funny you say that because it's not so much that there's a script, so to speak, but, they really have to condense the playbook in a situation like this where, and Matt mentioned this after the game, you go into a game with your menu, so to speak, right? And then all of a sudden your backup has to come in and you're sitting there and you saw a shot, I believe, of Matt LaFleur and Tom Clements going over things with Willis. You're asking, what are you comfortable with? Because you haven't run it with the ones, especially at all this week. So what plays are you really confident in? So the playbook goes from this to like this. It's this monster Cheesecake Factory type thing with your starter, and then it just goes down to a pamphlet when you got your backup in there. And I will say, and I said this on the live stream, and I'll say it again here, I really hope, as much as, you don't ever wish injury on anybody, but I really hope this kind of opens Matt's eyes to how effective this offense can be when he just buttons it up, runs the ball, and works off of that action. Like, it's no kind of slight to his genius as an offensive play caller, which he certainly is, and a game designer and all of that, game planner, all of it is wonderful. But it really feels like this team could be a lot more effective on offense if they took the approach they have taken when Willis has been under center. And that doesn't mean you can't do some of the other stuff, a lot of that spread shotgun stuff that they seem to love. But man, this offense is able to operate in a very different way. And they're forced to do so when Willis is in there. But I'd love them to operate that way when Love is in there because I think it would help Love. And I also think in a year where he's clearly playing injured and has been since week 1, help him. Help him out by buttoning it up and running the football. And you're probably going to get better looks to do it because they're still worried about Jordan Love making these crazy throws and throwing it and pushing it downfield. Button it up. Help your quarterback. That's my rant for the day, but it seems so blazingly obvious. Justin, thanks for the super chat, man. Rough day for the Fox Graphics, $1 zillion business. I mean, I joke, but it's true. When you were playing the Jaguars, playing this game at 1:00 Eastern, etc., you got Vilma on the call. You're down the totem pole when it comes to crews, right? The broadcast crews, like you got your A crew, you got your B crew. This was like the double Q crew, and it very much showed. Nathaniel, what's up, man? Half came down with a case of the berries at the end there. I mean, I'd said it on the stream, but he was just caught between a rock and a hard place with not being able to get home with 4. So you have to generate pressure somehow, but you're trying not to give obvious looks that they can easily block up. He kept trying to do replacement type pressures. He tried some zone blitz stuff, but Peterson was a step ahead of him pretty much, the whole second half, especially where Lawrence had some answers, especially down the field against spots in that zone, the zone looks where there were opportunities, and he made the most of them. I don't really envy the position Hafley was in down the stretch of that game because, again, you're not being able to get home with 4. And because of that, you're having to manufacture stuff. But every time you try, you've got Stokes, you've got Bullard, you got guys getting taken advantage of in coverage. It's really hard to live that way, You're damned if you do, damned if you don't. So I always talk about it. We talked about it all week. Everyone told me it wasn't a trap game. I'm not saying it was essentially a trap game, but man, they get paid too. And there's talent on that team. And they showed out certainly at certain moments of this game. But yeah, like I said, I don't envy Hafley's situation there in the second half. Simon, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Love the win, but with injuries, it's tough. Hate games like this. We're in good hands with Malik. Go, Pack, go. It is, man. It is tough, but next man up, No one, as Matt has often said, no one cares. No one gives a crap, man. There's no doubt they got to overcome some injuries, but no one cared when the Rams had 2 of their best wide receivers on the shelf. Packers went out to LA, got the win, get their 2 best wide receivers back. Suddenly they look good again. Like, it's not about who you play, it's when you play them. Whatever your injuries are, you got to deal with it. You got to keep going. Z Fly, sorry, 226. Thanks for the super chat. If the Jets weren't the Jets, they would have McManus instead of us. Now look at them. Didn't watch the Jets at all. Don't plan to. That's kind of hilarious. Godsmack, what's going on, man? If I'm being honest, there were 3 more games we probably would have lost if not for Malik Willis. All that dude does is ball out. That last bomb to Reed was chef's kiss material. That's the thing. I mean, I talked about this at the top of the stream, but not only does he have the balls to go to that play, right? But then the throw. My God, what a perfect strike from Malik Willis, who absolutely has no reps with Reed this week. Probably very minimal reps in general since he came on board in Green Bay. And he just throws a seed to essentially seal the game. That's just so big time. Kyle, thank you for the super chat, man. I really love all the players on this D-line, and I hope they improve, but I'm very close to being worried. On to the Lions. Is worrying going to help, man? Let me save you the suspense. It won't. Being worried ain't going to help anything. Ain't going to fix anything. The Packers got to do the work. You don't do the work. You're the fan. You hope they get better. That's awesome. But worrying about it ain't going to do nothing but give you gray hairs and ulcer and who knows what else. Life's too short, man. Don't worry about it. Let's see what happens. Joe, I would like to welcome all New York Jets fans who are converting to Green Bay fans so they can watch their quarterbacks while they still win. Well played. Ooh, Michael, question of the day right here. Michael, do we have a real shot against the Lions without Love? Yeah, I think they do. I don't think it's a huge one. Never tell me the odds, etc. But yeah, they absolutely have a shot. No question about it. Like, there's no doubt that the Packers are going to have to alter their approach a little bit on offense. But, I think obviously a big key component is the health of the Packers defense, especially Evan Williams. The Lions are going to move the ball. They are going to score points. Can you, as an offense, be efficient, not shoot yourself in the foot repeatedly, and eat that clock? Keep them on the sidelines. Be efficient on offense yourself and score points. Make it a game. Get into the third, fourth quarter. Keep it as close as you can, and then maybe strike. There's there's a path to victory for the Packers if Willis is your starter. I'm not saying it's like, oh, no problem. Of course not. It is going to be tough. They are a very good football team. But no one, is going to apologize for the Packers when they sack Jared Goff, or, on the flip side, if Malik Willis has all day because Hutchinson is out and they can't get home with 4, no one's crying for that. You know what I mean? Like, yes, 1,000,000,000% the Packers have a chance. No doubt about it. Abdul, how are you, man? Hey, Aaron, did Reed's role change at all, or is his ankle still an issue? Seems like they're using Watson more. Sincerely, a Reed fantasy owner. I also am a Reed fantasy owner. But no, I don't think it's changed a whole bunch. I mean, it would help if he started hanging on to the ball again. He's had a couple now, these last couple weeks, where just needs to hang on to the ball. It's third downs especially. But I don't think his role has changed ginormously. But as we talked about this summer, it's a week-to-week proposition with this team. There is no number one. I'm talking about people were talking about Romeo Doubs being the number one. He looked good today until he had that drop. Need him, need Reed, need Watson, you need them all. And it doesn't matter, as far as, what you're asked to do in game. You got to produce, you got to step up when your number is called. And that might be 10 times, it might be 3 times. The problem is you got to deliver. Because there are so many mouths, not even to feed, but to utilize. You gotta be able to step up and deliver when you're called upon. Mimsy, what's up, man? No way they pull up at the 2 with Narv Dog. Oh, no question. Like, Brooks is in the end zone if Narv Dog's your kicker. No question about it. Oh, we got spam in the chat. Love it. Yes, Brandy, thank you. Packers beat the Lions without Jones and Watson last year. I'm not so sure about Watson, but without Jones is correct. Pretty sure Watson had a huge catch and a touchdown. It's Steve as well. Thanks for the super chat. Edrin Cooper. That is an excellent super chat. He is the real deal. Now, I do think we saw some of what there were concerns about when it came to Cooper coming out of college as far as the run game and getting washed out and getting interior linemen up on him and really getting controlled in the run game. Certainly saw some of that today, but overall, outstanding work. I mean, just a huge play to cause that fumble of Lawrence. Exciting stuff. Glad he got the start. Hope he gets many more to come. Porkmaster, thanks for the super chat. Pack win. I'm eating a big fat steak. Life is good. Sounds like you got it all figured out, Porkmaster. Eric Taylor, shout out to Goody. He saved our season with that Willis trade. Kind of amazing, right? What's crazy to me is to think back to where we all were fan-wise, as some media members, but headspace-wise, it was like, okay, well, they've got these 2 quarterbacks in camp, and neither one of them are really blowing it up. And should they trade for someone? I know, because I got it a lot, and I know lots of other people got it. The suggestion that they go sign, what's his name from the Titans, the old starter, Tannehill, and nobody, and I mean 0 people, had Malik Willis on their radar. And that's why, not just Brian Gutekunst, but that whole staff, Richmond Williams, the head of pro personnel, he's involved in that, right? That whole group, they do such good fucking work. And to your point, man, saving the season. Just saving the season. No question about it. So can the Pack already volunteer to play the Jags in London next time? Colin, relax. Matthew Clark, speaking of London, I don't know if you're in London, but I know you're overseas. How are you, Matthew? Chelsea win, Pack win, happy Nags. Outstanding day. I mean, what's so funny is probably the greatest thing I've seen all day was that very first pass from Cole Palmer that set up their first goal. That is one of the most amazing things you will ever see on a football field, either football. That was an amazing play. Abdul, what's going on, man? Thanks for the super chat. Dumb question, but shouldn't a groin injury not be too much of an issue as a QB? It's not like he's a wide receiver or running back who needs to run or be explosive. Sir, I'm going to ask you something right now. First of all, we have no idea of the severity. Second of all, I'm begging you to just sit in a quarter or stand in a quarterback stance, like you're asked to do, right, under center, right? So first of all, bending. Second of all, you're asked to turn and push either way. push off with your leg into the feet, and the power is through your leg. Dude, what are you talking about? And that's just under center. Talking about if you're in the gun, so to speak, and you probably put them in the pistol if they can, you still got to move. Like, yeah, can you operate like standing still, quote unquote? Sure. But have you watched how like the other team has some good pass rushers and you have to move as a quarterback? That's what Matt's talking about when he says you have to protect yourself. You have to be able to protect yourself. And if your groin's shot, no way. Absolutely not. And yes, it matters for a quarterback. Big time. Dubs only. A reliable kicker makes all the difference. McManus perfect today. It most certainly does. Yeah. Oh my God, I'm not even going to touch that, but that is very funny, John Dale. Turpin profile. Willis should start. He probably will. He probably will for next week's game. If you're saying he should start over Jordan Love, long-term, forever, etc., go outside and touch some grass. There's no quarterback controversy. There's zero doubt that Jordan Love will be your starter going forward for any number of years. Who knows what happens with Malik Willis? Maybe he sticks around and stays the backup. Maybe he goes and gets a starting job somewhere. But I guarantee you he is not taking the job from Jordan Love. Stop that nonsense. Lucas, amen. Bye week couldn't come sooner for this team. 1,000,000,000% correct. Absolutely need it. Drink to Tucker Kraft. I'm just saying he would look good on a beer can. Maybe he'll be the new face of Carry the G. We should talk to him about it. I love it. All right, everybody. I'm going to get going. Can't thank you enough for hanging out all day watching the game. Hear gut reactions afterwards. Please do me a monster favor. Hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends, tell your family. Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Good, bad, and the ugly will be up later. Thanks so much, everybody. Go Pack, go.